Hey everybody, this is Andrew from WrightBrained Music, and in this video we're going to talk about the hardware features of the UAD Apollo Twin. For this video, the way I want to do things is that instead of me kind of recording like a really well-produced video where I pan around the device and show you everything, I actually want to be more interactive and actually record this. So I'm going to record the video and I'm going to be talking at the same time, and I want to point some things out as I go along. So before I get started, if you're an Apollo Twin X user, which is the most recent version that came out of the Apollo Twin, I believe it came out last year. Well, it did come out. It came out like maybe I want to say like October, November or something like that. The difference between the Twin and the Twin X cosmetically is going to be, obviously the Twin X has an X there, and there's actually a USB-C connection in the back. This is a Thunderbolt connection. So if you're a Twin X user watching this video, the majority of what I say is going to be applicable to the Twin X as well, but minus the USB-C connection, whereas this has Thunderbolt. So I think the Twin X might have a little bit better processing power, but I'm not 100% sure on that. All right, so on the front of the device, you get a high-Z connection for instrument, whether it be guitar, bass, what have you. On the front, you get one single headphone jack. That's probably the only knock in me, having this device for the last couple of years, is that you only get one headphone jack. And most preamps, just to be fair, only have one headphone jack. So it's just, if you're recording an artist and you want to be able to not have to use a splitter, then it would be nice to have it on the device, but to keep it compact, I'm sure, and obviously having to switch between and turn the volume up and down, they probably do it that way. But I would highly recommend getting a headphone amplifier, because that will actually allow you to not only split the signal but actually amplify the signal as well. So if someone wants to turn their own volume up or down, they can do that, and you can do the same as well on your end. All right, so let's talk about the back portion, the rear portion of the Twin. So you got an optical connection there. You have a power connection, your AC adapter. You have the power switch there. Thunderbolt. Whereas if you're a Twin X user, you have a USB-C connection. You have the line out. You have a monitor left, right, out. And then you also have your mic and line 1 and 2. So now let's flip this thing back. Let's talk about this stuff right here, this fun stuff. So we'll talk about the monitor portion first, but one thing to note is that when you switch from preamp, you see this row of options here, and then it switches when you switch to monitor. So right now with the monitor, you switch between your headphones, and you can switch between the actual monitors that your speakers effectively. So you can turn up the volume using this knob here. You can turn the volume of your headphones up or down using this as well. You also have a talk button here. So if you say, for instance, you've ever been to a studio and then the artist is in the booth, and obviously from the control room, the engineer or producer, what have you, they'll use a talk button to communicate with the artist in the booth. So that's what that is, and that's the microphone for that, which is actually pretty solid. Actually, like, you wouldn't think that that little small tiny thing could pick up your voice as well, but it actually does. This dim switch, I don't know what that is off the top of the head. You probably have to look at the manual for that. I really haven't had to use it before. Probably good for me to know what it is, to be honest with you, but I haven't had to use it. So this mono switch allows you to sum your mix up into mono. So you could basically takes your stereo signal and converts it to mono, but it only works on the monitor setting. So if you have it set to headphone, this doesn't work on the headphone setting. It only works if you want on the monitor, and then if you want to listen to your mix in mono, you have to probably use like a plugin in your DAW. Most DAWs, Logic Pro, Pro Tools will have some sort of plugin that you can put on your track or on your overall mix, and then just switch it to mono. So I do that all the time. Mute button. So obviously self-explanatory, mutes your signal. All right. So now let's go to the preamp section here. So, all right, let's get that off of there. So for channel 1, this controls mic line 1 signals. So right now there's nothing plugged in the back, so it's just defaulting to line. And you could turn up your gain, up or down using that. And let me just take my headphone jack out here and just plug it into the front here. So as soon as I plug it into the front, it identifies that there's a connection in the high Z connection there. Pull that out, switches it back to line. So now if I go to channel 2, which is the one I'm actually recording on, you'll notice a couple things, that this whole thing went orange. I'll talk about that in a moment here, and and I actually, in my part 2 and part 3 videos, I pretty much explain what that is. But I did not talk about this row of icons yet, so let's do that too. So you have your input. So this switches between like mic or line. If you tap it, switch back to mic there. You have a high pass filter. I don't know what the default is if you're not using a Unison preamp plugin. I think it might be like 70 or 75 is the what it high passes. If you're using like a clean no plugin on the channel, no plugin in the Unison section, there's a 48 volt. Basically, this is for phantom powered microphones, which right now I'm recording on a phantom powered microphone. This pad button basically allows you to pad the incoming signal. Basically, it attenuates or lowers the volume by a certain number of decibels. So on the plugin I'm using right now, which is the Neve 1073, it actually pads it by negative 20 dBs, minus 20 dBs. This phase switch allows you to flip the phase of the incoming signal that you're recording. So let's say, for instance, you're recording a grand piano with 2 microphones or what have you, and you don't want the signal to get canceled or what have you, then that's what that phase switch is. You can watch a video on phase and all that good stuff. I've never had to use it, but I just know what it is. And the link button, I don't know what it is either, but that's, again, you can look at the manual for that. All right, so one other thing that I'll just show you here is that you can actually kind of use the preamp button to be a little bit interactive with your software. So the software and the hardware are basically in sync with each other. So if I turn this down, I go back to my screen here, I turn that up and down, that basically controls my switch there, my gain, turn that up and down. Now go back here. Now if I hold down that preamp button, I can actually, it now brings an orange dot there, and I still control that. Obviously by default that's what it's going to control, but then if I tap it, this now goes to yellow, and now I can control my kind of volume here. So then if I switch to that, this controls that little green dot right there, controls the input output, or basically the output specifically. So once I've kind of gotten the kind of sound that I want out of the preamp in terms of the gain stage and that little volume stage there, now I can control how loud I want it to be once I've gotten the sound that I want out of this whole preamp section here in terms of the EQs and all that good stuff. So that's what that is. So hey, thank you for watching this video on the hardware features of the UAD Apollo Twin. I hope it was helpful, and if it was, please hit that like button at the bottom. And if you want to see more content like this, as well as piano tutorials, please subscribe to my page, WrightBrained Music. And if you need help with your mixes and getting your mixes radio ready, please reach out to me at WrightBrainedmusic.com. Thanks, everybody.